What's up, guys? I'm setting it all up. All right, gang, this is Mike with Mr. No Fluff, and today we're going to be talking about the economic collapse news from two major bank failures in China to America's World War III and Iran and Venezuela accepting Bitcoin in their countries. So let's talk about the very first thing. I've said before that once the collapse happens, it's going to be a domino effect because of how the bankers work. Because all the bankers are almost like inner way related to each other, inner way woven in each other because of the way the system works. So when one banker goes, more banks come. Now, 1 month ago in China, a major bank in that area failed. Right about 1 month. Now the second bank in China has failed. So we say, hey, why do we care? This is a trade war, this and that. Well, the point is, I don't like any bankers, but the point is, one bank falls, two two bank falls. It's a domino effect. It doesn't matter where it is. Okay, once there's a bank run, it catches on wildfire. Okay, so that's point number one. Now let's talk about the American World War III. America's causing it. Now there's a lot of different madnesses because of our military complex that we're causing all around the world. Okay, right now America's singing his warships to China, right? Because of a dispute about selling arms to an island out there. Okay, but what we need to know to understand as Americans, as people that we have friends in the military, is do we really want war, especially with countries that have nuclear weapons? Because we're not talking about a war where there's going to be thousands of millions of people die. We're going to talk about the end of humanity. If you have kids, do you want that for? I mean, for what? Because the same behavior that American military is doing is the same exact thing in China, same exact thing in Venezuela, same exact thing in Russia border with a neighboring country where once again we're selling them arms. Um, Same thing in Iran. So the question is, who benefits from this billions of dollars of arms sales to, for example, Saudi Arabia, or billions of dollars to, I believe, the little island next to China, billions and billions of dollars. Who benefits from that? Okay, so to track the money, you can see who benefits, who does the lobbying to get these kinds of growth and kids dying and people dying, innocent people. But this time, it's not innocent people around third world countries. It's going to be America as well because we're at war with so many different fronts. For example, we're even at war with our allies. For example, Europe, Germany, France, etc. They used to be our allies. Remember the last war in Afghanistan and Iraq? Okay, 18-year-old war that we're still fighting. Well, they used to be our friends, and they're still our friends, but they're not eating our propaganda anymore, okay, in a sense. And one reason is that you can see that the Europeans have created a system called Instinct that I brought to you guys a couple of weeks ago on my YouTube channel, where they're overpassing the US dollar as the world's currency to exchange with other countries. So this is very, very important because as Americans, we should care about that is because we have the luxuries that we have in America is because we're the reserve currency. Okay, what that means is we're here and every other dollar is kind of like this pegged on top of us. And if we go down, all these other places are going to go down that don't subscribe to the central banking systems. That's why we overthrown them, right? And today you have to realize that our empire is everywhere. We have all these unfunded liabilities that we say they're unfunded, but we have funds for military. We're like the world's biggest military consumption. Okay, uh, and we don't have funds for pensions. We don't have funds for, uh, you know, bad water systems as some of our states have. We don't have pensions to educate the public. The police with the police brutality. We don't have money to put into school systems to you know teach us about good stuff besides propaganda. Like, they don't want to talk about the Black history. They don't want to talk about the Native American. So there's a lot of things we can work at our own home, right? Like military vets coming and they have suicides, so many a day. I mean, it's like, so there's so many things we can do with our own resources versus like causing World War III, in my humble opinion. Because, if you have kids, do you want your kids to be nuked? Do you want your kids to die? I don't know. I'm asking you. I mean, because the media is not bringing this information in here, and so I'm bringing it to you so you can think about it, right? Because the media should be a propeller by itself of freedom, but if they already have a biased opinion on one side, then which they do, because the corporations today are the owners of government, because they buy the lobbyists through, guess what? They buy the Congress people through lobbyists, man. It's just simple bribery, just up in the front, guys in suits. Okay, there's nothing different besides corruption in, let's say, India. There's nothing different between that. One is underneath the table, the other one's on top of the table. But exactly, it's corruption. Okay, because the Constitution was for us, not corporations, and now corporations have as much rights and power without anyone being reliable for it, versus the average man. So, with all this power that we have as Americans, we should lead the world into freedom, right, by our actions, and because people want to look up to us. But we're not doing that, right? What we're doing is policing other countries, invading so many different countries. They're not even neighboring countries. They're so far away. We're not defending ourselves. We're attacking, right? Because if no one's knocking on our back door, so I think that we should use that money for the betterment of mankind, including Americans, right? I mean, uh, we have so much inflation because all this stuff really hurts your pocket, your deep pocket. Because what people don't understand is all this war, me and you have to pay for. And how do we pay for it? We pay for taxes, we pay for inflation, the printing of the money, and so on and so on. Asset prices going up, so you have to get it to a more indebted banker to get that house or to get that stock. So it's just a cycle. And but these things are just monetary things, and they now are going to lead into, you know, possibility of World War III, because we are now knocking on China's neighbor and selling them arms. Now we're sending warships to, to Russia. We're sending ships to China, and we're also selling their neighbors arms. And the same thing's happening with Iran. We're selling Saudi Arabia arms, and someone's getting billions and trillions of dollars in this transaction. But millions and billions of people are going to die because of this stuff. And I mean, does that sound like, I mean, like, if someone came to your house and was trying to mess around your marriage, wouldn't you be upset? Exactly, and that's what we're doing. We're not defending ourselves. We have interests, which is basically corporations like Boeing and the military complex, and and you have to think about, why are we doing this? So you got to think about that, because we're spending so much money. We're in total debt. So we need the natural resources of Venezuela. We need the natural resources of Iran to pay for this machine, right? I mean, think about it like at your own household. If you were in thousands of dollars in debt, and you're almost maxed out because no one would lend to you anymore. And that's what's happening when I say we are losing the world reserve currencies. No one's gonna. They're creating their own systems to bypass the dollar, right? Like Bitcoin's one example. Insects the Europeans are using to trade with Iran, because everyone doesn't want to go to war. And so when our own allies are saying, "Well, man, too much war," or "This is just uncaused and this is causing all these things." I mean, we're going to be in a situation where we're going to be fighting wars in multiple fronts. Okay, China, Russia, Iran, uh, and at the same time, we're very, very indebted the system's maxed out, and that doesn't sound good for me or for you. So that's why I'm taking a moment to say that is like, man, we have to think about it. Do we need war? Right? Because when we don't have free trade, the next thing is war. And I said that before, months and months and months and months ago. When free trade stops, then is war. It's kind of like the wife and the husband situation. When the wife sleeps in the other room, next step is divorce, right? If you don't stop it, right? And the same thing is here now. So my thing is to help everyone understand and wake so we can stop it because, we're not going to be fighting with airplanes and, we're talking about nuclear weapons. And we already know America is willing to pull on that trigger and we already nuked other countries. So once we nuke one country that has nuclear, they're going to nuke us, and it's just going to be an ongoing um, sadness of darkness of evil for greed. Some people win, but it's a small percentage of people, in my opinion. Um, I don't know. The bankers definitely win because they get the nations in debt. The the guys that sell the military equipment, they definitely win. But the people that I went to school, high school with, or college with, they're in the military, they're not gonna win. They're probably gonna come back in body bags if everyone's not nuked. So why do we need wars? We should be above that, right? We need to be above that. So I'm gonna get off my rant off that, and then move to the next thing, guys. Bitcoin, right? That's why I think Bitcoin is powerful because it allows everyone an equal race, right? For example, I'm buying Bitcoin, and by the time it has 100,000 people get into it, they're not going to have that equal race anymore, right? So it gives everyone an equal race if you believe into it and you want to get into it. For example, Venezuela and is accepting Bitcoin for taxes when people come to the airport, okay, and they're exchanging it. But it's a pretty cool idea that they are accepting it because once more and more countries start accepting Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin is going to just rocket. No matter if the people come in, if the institutions come in, as governments start accepting it, okay, and using it as part of their government. Now, what is Iran doing? Well, Iran's just said that they're not going to ban Bitcoin mining, so they're allowing people to mine Bitcoin in Iran now. So that's an advance for Bitcoin as well because Bitcoin, in my opinion, is revolutionary because you could be sovereign over your own money, right? You don't have to have, for example, the Iranian dollar or the Chinese dollar or the American dollar. I'm just using the dollar as just currency, but just giving you examples to simplify it, right? Um, Instead of every country printing their own money and having endless supply, money supply to buy guns and military equipment and drop the mother of all bombs on innocent people that we don't ever get to see. And then when they do show it, like that guy, the news guy, I forgot his name, from WikiLeaks, and when someone does come show it to them, they just lock you up, dude, and discredit you, right? Which is pretty damn sad because all that guy did is just told the truth, and then he backed it up with facts, and then and this is the freedom. I love America, and I want America to be better. And one way for us to be better is to go ahead and admit our mistakes. That hey, we did steal the land from the Indians. That they do live in plantation settings on reservations that are just like the Jewish Holocaust. They're living, camps. That majority of Indians are poor and they're on drugs and they're in poverty and it was set up like that. The American government did steal their people's land and still screwing them over to this date on their reservations. And you just saw just a couple of months ago with the Dakota pipeline. Okay, we need to go ahead and accept that hey, we did enslave all these black people. That because of their hard work, that we have America to be so great. Until we're able to recognize our history, we can never move forward because we are at the same time enslaving so many other people around the world because we're just robbing their natural resources and giving them fake paper, right? The dollar. And the problem is as the dollar collapses because we're bullying everyone through sanctions and to monetary exclusions of the SWIFT systems. There's other solutions that are coming around from Bitcoin to insects that are providing solutions to eliminate that bullying because no one likes bullying. I think if you want to lead, you can't lead by bullying. You can lead by love, and that's what we need to do as Americans is by lead by love because, you know, we can't do that. And the way to do that is to, say, look, we made mistakes in the past and we hide it in our history books. We can't learn like that way, right? Because a lot of the stuff they're teaching us is totally wrong. And if you just take to self-educate, you realize, oh shit, this stuff is man, this stuff is wrong, man. From the Native Americans to Hispanics to the blacks to the Chinese, how we put them in concentration camps and the last war, just pretty sickening stuff, dude. Uh, and we make mistakes in our country like every human being does, but we have to acknowledge that so as to move forward. Uh, and trying to bully every country when we have our own problems at home doesn't make any sense. I think we should work at home first so we can be a place that everyone wants to be. Um, which is kind of like America is right now, and that's why we are where we are. So we should take that as a role model for the other countries to mimic us. Just like today, you have Hollywood and you have Bollywood. Everyone wants to be like Americans. So why lead with the gun? Right? Why not lead with the heart? Right? If you lead with the heart, you can get all the world to dance around you, and I think that's the best model, right? Instead of hiding the history and letting people forget where they're from, and teaching their culture so they don't lose that because that's very, very important. Because having a mixture of all these cultures has helped America be what it is today. You know what I mean? And I like that, and it's awesome. And I love being an American. But at the same time, I don't want to have World War III where every planet, every bird, every animal, everything gets nuked because some guy in power, has wants more power or more land or wants to extract other people's natural resources because they can't spend their money correctly or they want more conquering. Uh, I want world peace, man. Right? I want more prosperity for my kids and for your kids, and that's why I do this channel. I don't want evil and destructions and people that say, "Oh man, just nuke the whole one state." I mean, they're talking about having millions and millions and millions of insects, animals, sea, everything you can imagine just to be killed by human craziness, dude. Craziness. So pretty sickening stuff. But the great news is that, like I said, Bitcoin is getting more adopted, which allows sovereignty of the people versus corporations versus uh, governments, because no government can print it or control it, which is great. All right. Uh, and I'm praying that we don't have World War III because it's not being televised, but we got a lot of our warships everywhere from Venezuela, Iran, Russia, China. We got everyone's butt, dude. And what do you think is going to happen, dude? When we're at other people's homes, right by their houses, prepping up like this, crazy shit can happen, and no one wants that. I don't think that people want that anywhere. But I might be wrong. Let me know your thoughts. Do you want war or do you want peace? Do you want your kids to have a better life or do you want them to become in body bags? Leave a comment, dude. Much love.